Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Learn English Quick podcast. Boost your language skills. I'm your host, Paul Hauser, and today we are talking about something very personal, very interesting, and sometimes even life-changing. Your genetics. Now, don't worry, genetics sounds like a big science word, but we'll keep it simple. Genetics is about the instructions in your body, passed down from your parents, grandparents, and even great-grandparents. It's what makes your eyes blue or brown, your hair curly or straight, and even whether you like cilantro or not. But here's the big question. Can learning about your family history and your DNA actually help you make better choices for your health? Many people today are using genetic tests like 23andMe or Ancestry DNA to find answers. In this episode, we'll look at what genetics and family history mean for your health, how modern DNA tests work, real-life experiences of people who discovered something important from their genes, the benefits and limits of genetic testing, how you can use this knowledge to take better care of yourself. So, grab a cup of tea, get comfortable, and let's explore the genetics of you. Segment 1. What is genetics? Genetics is like the storybook of your body. Every person has DNA, and DNA is made of tiny codes that tell your body how to grow, how to function, and even what risks you might have for certain health problems. Think of it this way. Your DNA is like a recipe book. Some recipes are for your eye color, some are for your height, and some recipes are about how your body processes food or medicine. Family history. Before we even talk about DNA tests, your family history already gives you clues. If your mother, grandmother, and aunt all had diabetes, that may mean you have a higher chance of developing it too. If heart disease runs in your father's family, it's a signal to be careful with your lifestyle. Real-life experience. I once spoke with a friend, Anna, who knew her father and grandfather both had heart problems. When she turned 30, she decided to start jogging 3 times a week and eating less fast food. She told me, "I don't want to repeat the same history. I want a different story for myself." That's the power of knowing your family background. So family history is one piece of the puzzle. But now technology gives us another piece. DNA testing at home. Segment 2. How do DNA tests work? You may have heard of companies like 23andMe, Ancestry DNA, or MyHeritage. These companies send you a small kit. You spit into a tube, send it back, and a few weeks later you get results online. What they show you. Ancestry, where your ancestors came from. Maybe you are 40% Italian, 30% Irish, and 20% East Asian. Health information. Some tests tell you about health risks, like if you may be more likely to get Alzheimer's disease or lactose intolerance. Traits. Fun things like if you are more likely to have freckles, curly hair, or if you hate the taste of broccoli. Real-life experience. My neighbor David used a DNA test and discovered he had a higher risk of blood clots. He had never thought about it before, but after learning this, he talked to his doctor. His doctor suggested he avoid smoking and try to stay active. David said, "I feel like I know my body better now." But does this mean DNA tests are always right? Not exactly. Let's explore the benefits and also the limits. Segment 3. Benefits and limits of DNA testing. Benefits. You learn about your ancestry and cultural history. You find out about health risks early, so you can take action. You may connect with relatives you never knew you had. It can motivate you to live healthier. Limits. DNA tests don't tell your future. They only show probabilities, not guarantees. Lifestyle still matters. For example, your DNA may say you have a risk for diabetes, but eating well and exercising can still protect you. Privacy concerns. Your genetic data is very personal. Some people worry about how companies store or use this data. Real-life example. Emily, a teacher, took a DNA test, and it said she had a higher risk for breast cancer. She was very worried at first. But her doctor explained, "This doesn't mean you will get cancer. It just means you should be more careful with checkups." Emily now goes for regular screenings, and she feels more in control. Now that we know the good and the bad, how can we actually use this knowledge in daily life? Segment 4. Using genetic knowledge for better choices. This is where the real value comes. Knowing your genetics is not about fear, it's about power. You can use the information to make better choices. Examples of empowered choices. If your family history shows heart problems, you can choose exercise and a healthier diet. If your DNA test shows lactose intolerance, you can switch to almond or oat milk. If you learn you have a higher risk for Alzheimer's, you may focus more on brain-healthy habits like learning new skills, puzzles, or meditation. Real-life experience. I met a young man, Lucas, who discovered he had a genetic risk for type 2 diabetes. Instead of feeling scared, he joined a local gym and started cooking his own meals. He told me, "It's like the test gave me a warning, and I listened. Now I feel healthier and stronger than ever." So we see how powerful it can be to understand our DNA and family history. But how can we balance this with everyday life without becoming too stressed? Let's talk about that. Segment 5. Finding balance. Genes are not your destiny. It's important to remember. Genes are not everything. They are like a map, but you still choose the path. Yes, genetics can tell us about risks. But lifestyle, habits, and environment play a huge role. Two people with the same gene may live very different lives depending on their choices. Real-life reflection. Think about twins. They have the same DNA, but if one eats healthy food and exercises while the other smokes and drinks a lot, their health will look very different after 20 years. So, don't see genetics as a prison. See it as a guide, a compass. Well, today, we've opened the genetics of you. We learned that family history can give us early warnings. DNA tests like 23andMe can show ancestry, traits, and health risks. Genetics has benefits and limits. It's not a crystal ball. The real power is using this knowledge to make better choices. The big lesson is, your genes give you information, but your actions write your story. So, I encourage you to talk to your family about health history. Ask your parents or grandparents what they know. And if you ever use a DNA test, use it as a tool, not a prediction. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you learned something new and also practiced your English in a friendly and easy way. Remember to subscribe to Learn English Quick podcast, and I'll see you next time. Until then, stay curious, stay healthy, and keep learning.